Welcome back to Cheat Sheet Pros. It is Friday, February 4th, 2022. Today we're going to take a look at some sports betting picks and our player props. I've got them up on the screen right now, but I'm going to go ahead and run through them because I know some people only watch the YouTube and get the notification. So if you're not on our mail list and got this, I'm going to go ahead and run over it. As always, make sure to hit subscribe down below because in 2022 we're going to put out some more videos. So I'm going to run through some NBA sports betting picks, which I have over here on the right side, and also some player props over here. So if you need to pause the screen and take a look at them, you can. So first, I'm going to go ahead and flip back over here to the NBA cheat sheet. Looking at player props, we're looking at this last 7 tabs. As always, we're going to step over here to the points, rebounds, assists. We're going to sort difference, highest to lowest. And then what I did, I get a lot of people in here with these different minutes. So what I did today, as I just filtered it out and said I want greater than or equal to 25 minutes, so it pulls up the players we're actually going to see. Some of the players that we are going to go over and discuss, we have Trae Young, LaMelo Ball, Luka Doncic, Vuk wasn't up yet, Gary Trent, Maxey, Embiid, Dort, and who else did we have in here? Siakam and Tatum. So those were some of the guys digging through the sheet that I had noted and went over here and took a look at. So looking at their prize picks, some of the things I like, Gary Trent over 17.5 points. He finally missed it last night with only 16. He was really close. Prize picks dropped it from 18.5 back down to 17.5. And he had 5 or 6 games of 30 plus points. Plus, they just played this same Atlanta team, and he dropped 31 points on them. So I'm going to go right back to it again and take over 17.5. Trae Young, points, rebounds, assists over 38.5. He's got 48 and 53 PRA over the last 2 games. So I'm going to take a shot here at 38.5. They're running red hot. LaMelo Ball over 21.5 points. The last 5 games, he has 30, 23, 20, 29, and 25. So he's been over this in 4 of the last 5 games. And Charlotte needs a get-right game at home after losing 2 straight. Embiid over 4.5 assists. Either his assist or his points prop is going to go over tonight. I went ahead and sided with assist for the sake of this. He's got 6, 6, 7, 4, and 6 over the last 5 games. So the only one that he did miss was by the half. So I'm going to go ahead and take a shot on that. Tyreese Maxey, he's one of my favorite plays tonight. Points, rebounds, assist over 26.5. He's been over this number in 3 of 4 games, and in the last 2 games, he's put up 37 and 44. So he's absolutely crushing this number. So we get a lot of wiggle room over the top. He's also projected to play another 35 plus minutes tonight. And then I don't know how to pronounce this guy's first name, so I'm not even going to try. But Dort, PRA over 24.5. He helped them get the win over this Portland team just less than a week ago. And let me see what he have. He's been over this in 4 straight games with 39, 27, 39, and 25. So 2 he just squeaked over, and 2 he's absolutely crushed. So we like props where at least half the time he's crushing the number or giving us a lot of wiggle room to get over the top. Siakam, I looked at his points prop, but rebounds looked a little bit better. He's been over this number in 3 of 4 games, and what we said before, we like ones that have a lot of wiggle room over the top. With 13, 14, and 13 in 3 of the last 4, he's been well over that number, but I do want to give you a word of caution with this. Last time he played this same Atlanta team just on January 31st, so 5 days ago, that was the game he only had 6 rebounds. So just word of caution, be careful. Don't go all in on it. And Jayson Tatum, I was looking at his points prop, but it was kind of high, so I settled on over 4.5 assists. Once again, he's got 9, 5, 7, 4, and 6 over the last 5 games, giving him a 4 out of 5 over, and then the 1 loss was by a hook. And then when it's over 4.5 and he's got a 9 and a 7, that gives us plenty of room to go for that. So sports betting picks, we're going to go ahead and run over these. Let me close out the player props, and we'll run through these on the NBA tab and cheat sheet. And let me get this set up here where you guys can see everything at once. All right, almost there. Okay, so we got the first game. We got Charlotte over Cleveland. So I'm going to flip through this. So our first game is Charlotte minus 4.5 over Cleveland. Looking at this, The NBA, the main model right here, we've got Cleveland -3. They're getting 4.5, so it's going to lean over towards Cleveland. So again, the plays that I post aren't necessarily a representation of the NBA model. They're what I personally like and the games that I pick. So I like this as a get-right game for Charlotte coming back at home, laying 4.5. You can see Cleveland's lost 2 of the last 3 by double digits, and they lost to a bad Houston team and a bad Detroit team. They did beat the Pelicans at home, but look at their last 3 road games. They lost to Houston by 11, they lost to Detroit by 10, and then they lost to Chicago by 13. So they lost the last 3 road games. Charlotte's dropped 2 in a row to Boston and the Clippers by 6 and 25. So they come back home and look to get back on track. One of the things I like is Charlotte, you can see up here, they are also 15 and 7 against the spread at home. So that is good. So we're going to go with Charlotte tonight. Flipping down to San Diego, Houston, that wasn't one of our games, but a lot of money's coming in on, I'm sorry, not San Diego. Sorry, I've got a headache right now. San Antonio. Our model has it pretty close. I don't really like either one of these teams. They've lost more games than they've won recently. San Antonio's lost 4 of 5, and then they've lost 4 of 5, so I don't think there's a clear side either way. Coming over here to OKC and Portland, this is a game I've got OKC plus 8.5, and I don't mind taking a small amount of money on the money line for OKC plus 290. Now, looking at this game, Portland, I mean, I don't know how you can lay any points with them, especially 7.5, which it's at 8 points now. They've lost, 5 of the last 6, 3 of them by double digits, 17, 14, and 20 points. And they got beat by 17 by a bad OKC team. Now, they are coming back home, but the last 2 home games they also lost, so I'm not real worried about that. OKC, they've got a run of games here. They haven't been great, but they have won their last 2 games. They beat Portland by 17, and then they went on the road and beat Dallas in Dallas, which is pretty impressive, by 6. So I think this is more of a 50-50 game. I'm definitely grabbing the 8 points here, and then I'm going to sprinkle a little bit on the money line just for fun. Just who knows what's going to happen, but I definitely don't want to lay that many points up here. And then, where was it at? These teams just played right here. So 2 games ago, OKC played Portland at home and beat them 98-81, beat them by 17. So now they are going to Portland, and you can see they've lost a string of games. So why not think they can do it again? Shai was out in the last game they beat him, and he's out tonight, so nothing to worry about there. So as you can see, OKC plus 8 is one of the plays we have. Boston, Detroit, real quick, last 10 power rankings. This is number 1 versus number 29. Our model has Boston minus 17, so that's a 10-point difference than the spread. So I'm going to lay the points here with Boston. It opened at 7.5. It's somewhere between 8.5 and 9 now. Boston, they've won 5 of the last 6 games here, and look how impressive their wins are. 30, 53, 29, 10, and 6. They lost to an Atlanta team that's red hot right now. And then they beat some mediocre teams, but these last 2 wins against Miami and Charlotte, those are solid wins. They were at home, though, and they do go on the road, but look at Detroit. They're 2-8 over their last 10 games, and look how many double-digit losses they have. Those are highlighted in red. They've lost by 11, 10, and 16 in 3 of the last 4 games, so not really worried about Detroit. I'll take the loss if they're able to hang within 10 on this one. Coming over here to Denver and the Pelicans, a lot of money coming in on Denver. I don't really like either side. Nothing jumped out at me. Denver's minus 5.5. Our model has Denver minus 6, so that's pretty close. So I'm going to go ahead and pass on that game. Coming over here to Philadelphia and Dallas, this should be an epic game. I'm excited to see this one. I am actually going to go with Philadelphia here, +1, +1.5. I'm not sure what it is. Our model has Dallas minus 4. But this is a get-right game for Philadelphia. You can see the 76ers won 5 games in a row, 2 of them by double-digit wins over the Lakers and the Pelicans. And then they're going on the road, but they're coming off of a home loss where they were favored by, I think it was 10 or 11 points to Washington, 103-106. So I don't think they're going to be very happy about that. It's very rare they lose 2 games in a row. And then you come over here, and so Dallas has been kind of 50-50. They're 3-4 over the last 7 games. They've lost 2 straight, and look at who they lost to: Orlando and OKC of all teams. And OKC came into Dallas and knocked them off. They've lost those 2 games by 6-2. So Dallas they were red hot. Now they're going on a little bit of a downhill skid. So I'm going to take Philadelphia because I think they have the better team. And then coming over here to Atlanta and Toronto. So this is kind of a tough one to pick the side, and we had over 215.5 is the play that we were going with. So when I looked at the side here, I kind of leaned Atlanta, but they're coming off that tough game against Phoenix. So, and then they just played and lost to Toronto 106-100. Now, I will tell you that these two teams, when they've played, they trend to the under, but there is an absolute absurd amount of money coming in on the over. So I'm going to make a play here on the over, basically because my model has this at 224.5. The line's at 215.5, and I think it was when I posted this. Okay, still 215.5. I think it's going to climb a little higher than that. Anytime our model's that far over, it's usually going to climb in that direction. And then you can see Toronto is 17-10 for the over at home, and then Atlanta's 13-11 over for the road. The 17-10 is good. 13-11 doesn't really matter to me. But you can see in these recent games for Toronto, for 215.5, they've been over, right at the number, under, over, under. So they've been leaning over, and then over here for Atlanta, they've been way over, way under, way over, way under, over, under, over. So I'm going to take a shot at the over. My model has the over. That's where all the money's coming in, and then the majority of their games have been over. But again, if this goes under, I won't be shocked, because when these two teams play, it ends up between 205 and 212, but I'm going to take a shot here at the over. Coming down, we have 2 plays here on Chicago and Indy. So we're going to take Chicago minus 1.5, and we're going to take over 231.5. Basically what we're doing here, this is 231, our model's 233. That's not enough of a difference to say, hey, the NBA model has a play here. But the trends, when I was researching him, Indy is on a 6-0 overrun over the last 6 games, and Chicago is 5-1 for the over in their last 6 games, which you can see here. Chicago's played games of 241, 247, 246, 253. And then coming over here, they've played games of 237, 238, 237, 284, and a 223. So they've been putting up a crap ton of points. So we're going to go ahead and ride with that. Also, you can see there's a difference with Indy at home versus on the road. On the road, they're 15-11 for the under, but at home, they're 17-10 on the over. When we come down here and we look at points per game, you can see that Indy scores about 112 at home and 106 on the road across the season. So they do much better at home where they are, so we prefer the points. And then I also do like a play here on Chicago. This line, our model has Chicago minus 10, but Vegas opened it at 1.5. Now they are coming off of an overtime road loss to Toronto last night, so there could be some exhaustion there, but I think that's built into the line. We've got it about 10. It's at 1.5. If this line was Chicago minus 5, 6, or 7, I would probably stay away from it, but 1.5, we just need them to win. They've done that in 4 of the last 6 games, and 2 of the last 3, they've been by double-digit wins. And then Indy, they're 2-5 over the last 7, and they have 3 losses of double digits. A 27-point loss and a 32-point loss at home to Charlotte. So Chicago is the clear better team here. Our power rankings is number 2 versus number 17, so I'm going to go here with the Bulls. I think that's a no-brainer. And then the last play we have here, I am going to go with, let me make sure you can see it down here. So our last play is going to be Utah minus 5.5 over Brooklyn. Vegas opened this at minus 1.5, and as soon as Donovan Mitchell was cleared, it skyrocketed out to 5.5. And I'm going to go ahead and take a shot here with Donovan Mitchell. He's a stellar play. Utah's been great at home. They have been struggling recently, but they've been missing a lot of players. They lost to Minnesota, Memphis, Phoenix twice, and Golden State, these are solid teams, and they only lost by 8, 6, and 2. So they weren't doing too bad, but then they came here and got blown out on the road. And then they came back home and they beat Denver by 4, which was a good win. But Brooklyn, I don't know what's going on with them. They've been absolutely god-awful. They've lost 6 straight games. 4 of those 6 you can see by double digits, 11, 10, 10, and 11. And I understand the loss to Phoenix. They're a good team. Golden State's a good team. Denver's a decent team. The Lakers haven't been doing anything, so getting beat by 10 by the Lakers at home, that's rough. And then going on the road to Sacramento, who's absolutely on a downward spiral, and getting beat by double digits by a team that doesn't play defense, it blows my mind. So I'm going Utah here, laying the 5.5. So again, just to recap the plays that we have, they're right here. We have Charlotte at home picking up a win. We have OKC, that's one of my favorite plays, +8. We're going to lay the points with Boston. We're going to take a shot on Philadelphia on the road at Dallas. We're going to take the money over on Atlanta and Toronto, even though I don't love it. And then I'm going to take the trend over with Chicago and Indy. I'm also going to take Chicago -1.5 here over Indy. And then I'm going to take a shot here on Utah -5.5 over Brooklyn. So happy Friday. Have a good weekend, guys. Later.